Dominion is the massively popular card game, which has contributed to the growing interest in deck building mechanics over the past few years.
In Dominion, each player is the ruler of a kingdom, which is represented by their deck of cards, and they draw from a common supply pool over the course of the game to make their kingdom stronger and to collect victory points. Game of Dominion lasts a little bit longer than an hour and supports from 2 to 4 players. There are also a number of expansions available, each of which adds new cards and new dynamics to the game, and one standalone expansion, Dominion Intrigue, which can be used instead of or in addition to the base set.
So during a game of Dominion, players pull from the same pool of 17 sub-decks. Now, a few of those decks will change every time you play, so that forces you to switch up your strategy a little bit, and it keeps the game fresh. However, always on the table, there will be 3 types of treasure cards: copper, silver, and gold, and 3 types of victory cards: provinces, duchies, and estates. These cards will give you victory points at the end of the game. There are also curse cards. These cards will count against your victory points at the end of the game, but curse cards aren't used in every game that you're going to play.
The rest of the supply pool is made up of 10 different piles of kingdom cards, which are drawn from a total of 25 that come with the base set. These are the cards that actually let you take actions during the game, and each one is quite different. Once the starting set of 10 kingdom cards have been chosen, they get laid out face up on the table, along with the treasure cards, the victory cards, the curse cards, and the trash pile. Each player is going to start with a deck of 10 cards, 7 coppers, and 3 estates, and they're going to shuffle those up, make a draw pile, and then draw their first 5 cards for a starting hand.
So each turn in Dominion is divided into 3 phases: the action phase, the buy phase, and the cleanup phase. Now the action phase is optional. In the action phase, a player plays a card from their hand and resolves the action text on it. Now actions can get you more money for your buy phase. They can allow you to draw a free card from the pool. They can allow you to discard a card or trash it from the deck entirely, or they can force your opponent to reveal one of their cards or even pick up a curse card. Some action cards allow players to take multiple actions during their turn, which means that you can play a string of kingdom cards which can allow you to cycle through your deck quite quickly.
During the buy phase, a player gains 1 new card from the central supply after paying its cost. Now, to pay the cost on a card, which is listed in its lower left corner, you're going to play the appropriate number of treasure cards from your hand and add them to any action cards you might have played that add to your buying power. The new card then goes into your discard pile. Now, deciding which cards to pick up during the buy phase is really at the core of strategy in Dominion. On the one hand, it's the kingdom cards that let you perform the actions that you want and are really going to let you customize your strategy during the game, but ultimately the game is won by victory points, which primarily come from victory cards. Of course, the problem with having too many victory cards in your hand is they're going to limit the number of actions you can take. So a skilled player is going to find a way of balancing these needs and building the best deck they possibly can with what's available on the table.
So during the cleanup phase, a player takes all the cards they played during their action phase and place them in their discard pile. And then they draw their hand back up to 5 cards. Now, if they don't have enough cards in their draw pile to draw back up to 5, they take their discard pile, shuffle it, place it face down, and then draw from those. Once that cleanup phase is over, the next player starts their action phase.
The game continues in these 3 phases until the province supply has been entirely depleted or 3 other decks have vanished from the table. At this point, the game ends and the player with the most victory points in their deck is declared the winner.
So one of the pros for this game, and probably one of the big reasons why this game is so popular, is that it's really, really easy to learn. But it's very difficult to master, very difficult to figure out how to win because it's changing up every time. A con for this game is that it really is lacking in theme, lacking in story. The cards, oftentimes their function doesn't really have any relation to what's on the card or the pictures on the card. It feels like we're really lacking in narrative here, and I'd really like to see some sort of narrative in this kind of a deck building game.
Another potential drawback is there can sometimes be a lot of downtime in this game, especially when you're facing a skilled player who's figured out how to chain a bunch of actions together so that they're cycling through their deck quite quickly. You often find yourself just sitting there and waiting while they play a whole bunch of cards in a row, which is really interesting when you're the one doing it, obviously, but less so for other players. Another really positive thing, however, is how much variety there can be to this game. You've got 25 different kingdom cards to start with in just the base set, so you're going to take some time just figuring out all the different combinations of those. And then there are literally thousands of other cards total between all of the expansions. So there's really a lot you can do before you get bored. And if you get tired of using the Dominion base set, you can always pick up Intrigue and mix all of the other expansions with that instead. So there's really a huge amount of variety here, and it feels like a game system rather than just a single game.